You're looking at a picture of a model world map that we created using plain paper, markers, scissors, tape, and little square pieces of note paper. In the video that follows, you'll see the process we use, and my idea is that we would have the whole class make these maps, and the process is designed in such a way that through the course of folding and marking the paper and cutting the continents and positioning them, the students become intimately, physically familiar with where the continents are in relation to each other and in relation to the northern and southern parts of the world, and in relation to the oceans, and so hopefully this would spark some discussion, as you'll see on the video it did with my son, about, you know, what are weather conditions like, why are Europe and Asia, why do they appear to be one landmass but two different continents? All sorts of good questions for further discussion about the world. So the idea is to get students really physically familiar with how the continents and the seas relate to each other, to ignite their brains to ask questions about the world. Thank you. So here we go. The trick with doing this is to figure out how and where to situate your continents. Okay? And we're not going to bother with Antarctica. We're just doing the six biggies: North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia. You start with a hot dog fold. You'll see this will eventually give you the equator. Then fold again, another hot dog fold. And then do a third hot dog fold. We're going to divide the world, our world map, into 8 sections latitudinally. All right? There we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Now, the first thing we're going to do is draw our equator. So we take our center fold, bump it up against our straight edge, and draw the equator. The next thing we're going to do is draw some special latitude lines that tell us where most of the action happens with our continents. So we're going to do a line along our first fold. Okay.
Why do we have to do these lines?
This helps us to locate the continents on the world map we're creating. This will become more obvious as we actually do it. Then we go up 2 folds and draw another one. So you see we have a line, a fold, a line at the next fold. Then our equator. Okay? Then we're going to go 1 fold above our equator, draw another latitude line. These are the latitude lines we care most about in terms of where the land masses on the planet are in fact located. Well, in fact located is sort of interesting when you think about projections. But for our purposes, for the type of non-projection projection we're doing, this works. Now we have to figure out where from side to side our continents are, and we're going to do that by doing a trifold. We're going to fold our paper in thirds as if we were folding a letter. So this is like a letter fold. Okay? Now we have 3 north-south sections of the world. Here's the easiest way to locate the new world, the continents on the new world. Go to the equator, which we should mark, right? We should mark our equator. There it is. Okay? Go to the equator in our left third and take the center of the equator in this left third area. That is where North America and South America join each other. Now take a piece of note paper, our little square note paper, cut it in half.
Where did this note paper come from?
We got this note paper at Office Max. A very good friend of mine uses it for origami. Now the trick with North America is that it is about that big from top to bottom. It goes from about here to about here in terms of our latitude lines from the equator to here. But it's not this wide. So we're just going to skinny it down a little bit by making a couple of cuts here. Okay? Just enough to get it into our first third of the world. That's all we're doing. Okay? That'll get us into the first third of the world. It's still pretty much a triangle that is half the size of our note paper. And there we are. There's the bottom of North America right here. And let's just mark it. North America. N-A. Which in some circles means not applicable. But not here. Okay? Now we're going to... Yes? Question?
Are the kids going to get this pre-prepped paper? Because it seems like you have to do a lot to get the paper to look like the continents we need.
No, they're going to get squares, and we'll cut them together. This will help them to understand the relative sizes of the continents, actually creating the cut paper. Now cut this half paper in half again to make another triangle. And there's South America. Now move it a little bit, because a little bit of South America below this tropic line should just below this tropic line should jut into our second third. But that's about all you want. Okay? Now you can put South America in place. Let's get our bottom corner down there. And let's mark it. South America. Yay! Now, our next easiest continent to locate is our friend Australia. Okay? Take the extra quarter that we got from cutting South America. There she is. Cut a little bit off, like that. You don't even have to cut a little bit off if you don't want, but I like to do that. Now
so
see,
it's kind of like North America. You have to cut. You have to skinny it down a little.
It's best if you do that. Now you see, it kind of sticks out more that way. It's steeper on this side. Flip it over, because Australia is actually steeper on this side. Put her down here in this corner between these two tropics, mostly in the right-hand side of your right third. And that's our friend Australia.
Looks nice.
Pretty small continent. Australia, 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 we loves ya. There's Australia. Take a second piece of note paper. Now we're going to make the biggie.
So far we've only used 2 pieces of note paper. Well, we've only used 1 for these 3 continents.
That's correct.
But
1 piece of note paper for these 3 continents. Okay? We're going to make Eurasia, Europe and Asia. We'll cut this note paper in half, and if it's easier for you to cut these in half by folding them crossways and cutting along the fold, please be my guest. This is Eurasia. Okay, half a note paper, and here's how we situate Eurasia. Okay? We bring it down so that it's almost to this tropic. See, it's below the equator, almost to this tropic. Okay?
Asia seems like a pretty warm continent.
A lot of it is, but a lot of it's quite cold. A lot of it's up here, right? See?
That's still in the temperate zone.
It is. It is true. Now what we're going to do with Asia, we're going to notice that most of her is in the right-hand third, the eastern hemisphere, right? And a little bit is jutting out here into the middle of our world. Now we're going to create Africa. Africa is big. It's the other half of our note paper. And it attaches to Asia not to Europe. It attaches to Asia, and it goes almost all the way down to this tropic line. Its bulge is roughly over the equator. Okay? And there is our friend, whoops, Africa.
Looks
Now,
like it's pretty cold around South Africa.
It can. So there is Africa.
You
Right?
generally wouldn't think of it as getting cold there.
Here is Asia. Okay? And here is our friend, Europe. They're all our friends. And Africa is mostly connecting to Europe. Or to Asia. And there you go. That is our map of, I'll take questions in just a minute. That is our map of the world. Now, what's that? Why is what?
Well, I have a question and a comment.
Mm-hmm.
It looks kind of like the continents are divided up into 3 teams. There's the Americas in the left-hand third. There's Africa and Europe in the middle third. And then there's Asia and Australia in the right third.
That's right. That's at least one useful way to think about them.
And also, why are Asia and Europe on the same continent?
They're not actually the same continent. This is a little stylized. And what you find when you look at a more perfect and correct part of the or map of the world is that you've really you've got a break here and a break here. This is Africa, and this is really Europe. And you're right, it's one big landmass.
It looks like they've kind of crashed into each other like a pair of cars.
I think that's right. It's one big landmass now, but the peoples and the cultures, although there's quite a lot of intermixing here, the peoples and the cultures are so distinct, sort of genetically, that it's clear to geologists that at one point these were very much different land masses. So,
I think Europe could use a dividing line.
You do? Where would you put the dividing line? Why don't I put the straight edge in here and you tell me when I've got it right. Okay, I'm going to draw on this line, or sorry, on this side because it's got the nice metal thing. Where would you put this divider? Would you put it here?
Just left of the dividing line between the middle.
Between left and right, or between middle and right?
Yeah.
How's that? And then if we did that, we'd probably want to be, if we wanted to be really seriously careful, right?
And precise.
And more precise, what we might want to do would be to go in here and cut Africa just a little bit so that we could see better that it connects to Asia. But there you go. Does that make sense?
That makes plenty of sense.
Now, you were talking about how you didn't think of Africa as getting cold.
Right. I mean, when most people think of Africa, they think of places like Kenya and, I don't know.
The Arab countries, right?
Yes. I thought those were in Asia.
You know, I guess they were, well, not all of them are, no. Not all of them are.
Well, it's a
That's a good question. We should look more carefully at that, shouldn't we?
Well, it's a very nice map. Thank you.
Thank you.